Hello everyone. Now in part 2 we are going to be looking at creating some new items in Blackboard. And so in your sandbox shell, to get there all you need to do is go to course content and you will see part 2, which is creating new content. So just go ahead and click on that link. And you can see that there are some objectives here. You need to be able to create a new folder, a new item, a new file, a web link, a video link, an assignment, a quiz, and a discussion forum. Now, the assignment, quiz, and discussion forum, there are separate videos created by Blackboard for each of those things, so you can go ahead and look at those yourself. One of the things I will discuss here, though, is actually linking the forum. So you probably already saw that there is a video there that explains how to create a forum, but actually linking it to the content area. As I mentioned in the last video, it's a slightly different process, so I just want to make sure everybody's clear. It is a little bit confusing when it comes to discussion boards, but trust me, you'll get the hang of it before you know it. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and look at creating some new content areas. And the areas that I'm going to be working in mostly are going to be build content, assessments, and tools. So these three areas will give me just about everything I need to create some new content. So to build the content, you can see that I've got the options that I'm looking for here. I've got item, I've got file, and I've got content folder. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and create a content folder. And that's what you saw in the part 1 and part 2 of this. You saw that little sort of folder icon. That's what this is. And all it really does is it creates exactly what it says it does. Creates a separate folder for different areas. So quite often people will use folders to create specific units of study. Maybe they want to keep all of the videos housed, all the presentations in one spot. So there are a lot of different ways that you could use it. So I'm just going to type in example folder. Remember, I have to include that. The orange asterisk requires it, but I can go ahead and I can provide a description. Okay. And again, with the text box editor, you can adjust any of these things. You can add, mashups, links, all those kinds of things. So, but for our purposes, we're just going to go ahead and click submit. And then you'll see that the example folder then shows up. The next item, I'll go ahead and just show you. I won't go ahead and create every single one, but I will show you how it's done, because basically it's the same, if you haven't figured it out already, for all of the different items you have to create. The difference between item and file. So let me go ahead and click item here. Item is used primarily in classes because you can provide your title here and you can provide that text description. So let's say you're providing an example research study that you want them to read. You can explain what that research study is. If you have any guiding questions for their reading, you can type those in there. It gives you all of those options, and then you can go ahead and attach your items. So I'll actually show you in here what that looks like. And then I'll just go ahead and browse my computer and look for just something random. That seems good. All right. And again, standard options are here, but I'm going to go ahead and click submit. And what you're going to do is, or what you're going to see here is that it's got the title, it's got the attached file, and it's got the description. Now that I'm going to show you the exact same folder, or I'm sorry, the exact same file, but I'm going to use create file for this one. So this is an example file. I can go ahead and browse, look for the file name. I'm just going to go with the same one. But then you notice that there's no text box. So this is really good for you just want to hit a whole series of files and you don't need to provide an explanation. The title explains everything for you. You can allow it to open in a new window. Quite often I do that because if it opens within Blackboard, then they have to navigate back to the class. It's just kind of a pain. So go ahead and hit submit. And then you can see here that this is the difference between how they look. And if I turn the edit mode off, you can see what it looks like from the student view. So it looks like an attached file. The other thing with item is that you can attach multiple files. With the just create file, you can't do that. So that, just so you know, that that's kind of the difference, the basic difference between those two. Now for the web link and the video link, I also have to look in the build content area. And the web link is right down here. So I'm going to go ahead and click web link. And let's say I want them to, go to the Board of Governors website. I go ahead and find it in my file. I'm going to select the address, copy it, go back into my course, hit Control V, and it pops right back in there. Okay. I can go ahead and provide a description of what the website is or what they should be looking for. If there's a document or a worksheet or something attached, something they need to do with it, I can go ahead and do that. And then I go ahead and click submit. And then you can see that, and as you notice, everything that's new, it's created and kicked to the bottom. So just as a reminder, if you need to move it around, just go ahead and drag and drop it to any spot that you need to. So now you can see that there's a separate website here, and they all have different icons, so students kind of get the hang of what the item actually is by the icon that they're seeing. The video link, this is where it gets a little bit tricky. So when you look at build content, there is an option here for video and for audio, but those are video and audio files, and generally speaking, we try to avoid those. There are so many resources that are available to be streamed, and adding these two items really does bulk up your course, and you could hit a limit on your content. So just realize that those can be very heavy files. If you have one and it needs to go in there, it's not a problem, but generally speaking, we try to go to some of the mashups over here first, and YouTube video is honestly one of the best resources. So if I'm looking for a YouTube, and if you haven't used YouTube in your classes before, really take a good look at it. It's not all funny cat videos. There are so many fantastic resources that are provided by so many legitimate sources there. So let's say I want to show a video on volcanoes for some reason. Okay, I can go ahead and search for the volcano videos, and then it'll give me a whole series of different videos. And again, you've always got to check your resources. I mean, is this Joe's page on volcanoes, or is it actually from National Geographic or something? So if you look at the preview option, what it will do is it allows you to actually see what the video is. It will allow you to see how long it is. It explains it. Looks like it comes from BBC. That could be pretty good. So if you decide that that's the one that you want, then you just go ahead and hit select. And again, I can provide a description here. It is, the view is a thumbnail, which means it's just going to be a very small picture icon, but if you want to change that, you can actually embed the video, which makes it much larger, or you can just provide the link, but generally speaking, you can stick to the thumbnail. And I'll go ahead and click submit. And now you can see that this is what shows up for the students. So it's very easy for them to see what the video is, what it's for, and you can provide some really fantastic content that way. Now, the other piece that we had to look at was the discussion boards, and that actually you're going to find over here in Tools. And so if I go to, well, first let me check and see if the discussion board is actually here. If I go into Course Tools and I look for discussion boards, then yes, I can see that there is an example discussion board. Actually, there are two forums in here. And this is the existing forum, fantastic. So that's the one that it's sitting back here in the discussion board, but I need it to come forward to the content. Depending on how your course was created, you may see a separate button that says discussions on it. Students can click that and just access whichever discussion they want. It's not generally considered best practice to do that anymore though. So what I need to do is go into my creating new content. For most of our online classes, everything is done week by week. And so students know that there's just one folder that they need to access for all of their week's work. So having them jump back and forth to different areas just isn't always consistent. Sometimes they have trouble figuring out which discussion they're supposed to do for what week. So it's just a lot easier to go ahead and link it up for them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Tools, and I'm going to select Discussion Board. And then it gives me the option to either link to the entire page, which I don't want to do. I've already got a forum to do that. But I'm going to go ahead and select a specific discussion forum. I'm going to link up to the existing forum, and then I'll click Next. And then I can go ahead and provide a description. And I can click Submit. And then right here where all of their other resources are for this unit, then there's the forum link. And so when they click on that forum link, it takes them just to that forum. You can see that it's only this existing forum. It doesn't take them to the whole discussions page. And depending on how many discussions you have, that could get very confusing. So that's why we generally promote linking them up instead of sending them directly to the page itself. The other videos are going to help you out with assignments and quizzes and actually creating the discussion forums, so be sure to check those out as well.